My name is Jonathan Parks, and welcome to Jonathan's Nature Crafts. I must inform you that I do not live in this house by myself, but live here with other people. Sometimes other members of the household may have to walk through areas where I might be recording with other family members on the phone. If you hear any noise like that, please feel free to disregard. We are doing our best to get noise canceling equipment, which may at least keep you from hearing exactly what is being said. Thank you for considering. Well, I'd like to say for a moment, maybe we will just come on here and after we just kind of uploaded that last video, maybe get on just to kind of do a little thing where, after all, we will be kind of doing a little sanding of some things. I say, just for a little work, kind of come along and maybe just saying things here and there. I say, kind of like get a little work done in this little piece. I say, come to the work, make it so it's going to be a little bit better for you and me. I tell y'all, we already did a little pencil marking here where we kind of drilled in the eyes, so that was in between videos, and think we're going to sand that away. Kind of try to get a little extra hard work into a piece just to kind of do a little thing we do just to measure it up. I say, kind of working like this. It's just crazy little stuff. I say, and come along, I tell y'all, just the kind of work we have in our lives, make it so we see just better, brighter days. I tell y'all, squirrels are wonderful creatures, and I say, they can be little creatures that come into the yard. Sometimes they can kind of eat some of the birds and bugs that kind of come our way. Sometimes I remember back to when I was a kid how there was a little blue jay in our yard and it had a baby there with it, and the time when that squirrel kind of went up to the baby blue jay, and the big blue jay was out there just chasing the squirrel away out by the bird feeder. And I remember all these stories from back to when I was just a kid. Sometimes I think about all the bird watching and animal watching my grandfather loved to do. He was on my dad's side. He was in North Carolina all my life, and I was always in Kentucky, so I didn't know him much. But from what I'd see of him when we went to occasional family reunions every few years, I'd see how he was with a lot of these creatures and how he did with so many of them. And when it came to these creatures, how he'd talk so much about them. And in his older years, not too long before he passed away, he started to get dementia. And in his little mind that he was in, he kind of thought he saw does outside his door, deer. And sometimes I think in some places in the country you will see deer outside your door, but he was probably a little bit too close within the city limits to see very many of them. And I mean, he always just kind of saw things like he did, and I had all these books from him, and they were all just little National Geographics and Time Life books and things, and one or two of them got destroyed in a basement flood, and went online to buy others to replace them. Some of them were just getting old, and I found new good replacements for them in random places like on eBay and stuff, because some books were kind of a little bit more well kept than others that others had, and were a little bit more vintagey in ways. But as I was a kid, I always loved those books when he brought them to me, and so much stuff I'd read into them, and learned all this stuff about what creatures prey on what creatures. And used to ask my mom exactly what that meant, and she said it means eating each other. And I've shared a little message with some of my Facebook friends and Messenger, and kind of telling them all these stories about what I used to learn as a kid, and ask my mother the question, what do bison prey on? She said, I think they just eat grass. She said, you mean they prey on grass? She said, no, that's just called feeding. Preying is only when it's eating other animals. Now I say that as time moves on, we know there's just so many other definitions of preying in a P-R-E-Y sense. Some of them are just words that are kind of used in terms of crime, but we don't really get on that much, because I'd say it might be a little too much for any young children you might have around here to watch anything on video. And so I say that there's a lot of things, they can be kind of controversial to talk about here and there, so we kind of use our best caution about it, being careful what we say and see and talk about. And I tell y'all that sometimes, just sometimes, a little word or two can get out here and there. And I say that there's times when we all just make our little mistakes. Sometimes, just sometimes, wrong little words can come off our tongues, like we kind of read about in the book of James, and how, a tongue just cannot be tamed. There's a lot of things where even in Proverbs it says to keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking lies. I say that we come down to where we're doing a little work here, sanding up these squirrels. I've kind of got a good grit to start with here. Kind of take it along, make it a way, take it where it's going to have to go along, make it all be true. I say of all things, it's hard to get much attention, when it comes to the spotlight. I tell you, for a while there, I felt like I could get a little proud because of my success, but I'm kind of getting a feeling for myself what it's like to kind of lose things a little bit. And I've told you all about my McLeod's Coffee House, and that place where I've gone to frequent in the past, where I've made a lot of good friends and all, and how they've been good to me there, and hiring special needs employees. So unfortunately, the problem is that I forgot to include the link in that video whenever I uploaded it, or to do it in the description. But hopefully, I say by the time I get back around to getting on there, if I can be reminded somehow be reminded, I might be able to just kind of go back and edit it and put that in. Hopefully in one of these videos I will. And I say that it's always good to kind of put links in descriptions. But I tell y'all, I'm having a hectic time right now. I told you in the last video what was going on with my risperidone, and what all the little conflicts are these days with medicine and all, and why it gets so hard to keep up with the best of things when you really need to do them and have time for them. And I say, whenever it comes to a little work here and there where we make a way to see what we have and do and make, I tell you all, kind of like little work is just kind of interesting in ways. I say for all things that we're going to sand along here. hopefully we can make this the finale video to the one about this carving of squirrels. I am thinking as it is, you know, I might not have many squirrels out this season. Maybe just these two, because it's like business is coming along. It might be kind of slow with it being the summertime and all, but I tell you all, these days, you know, I was just grateful enough to get out there and have people come up to see my booths and all and see my stuff, how interesting it was. I say, not even that many people really took my card either, but I tell y'all, I was just getting a little bit antsy, just sitting there all day, not selling anything, so that was kind of just the way little things just had to work themselves out in that time, and how we just work on our projects little by little till we make them come out the way they ought to be and do what we ought to do. I say that this is just kind of little swirly work. And I know one thing my first grade teacher told me about was about when she was a kid, how her brother was playing baseball and he hit the ball with the bat and the ball hit a squirrel. He went over there to pick up the squirrel and got bit by the squirrel and had to go get a rabies shot. So since learning that in the first grade, I've just been careful around all these wild animals, and knowing and being told that all the injured ones could have germs. Kind of the reason you have to kind of stay clear, and how sometimes, just sometimes, if an animal is injured, it might be more likely to attack you than if it isn't. Even if it's cornered, it might be, because those are just the moments when, you know, they feel like they are most vulnerable and feel like you can attack them the best, because we know that predators often, when they are looking for an animal to prey upon that is among their game, they often look for the injured one to kill and to eat, because it's the easiest one to catch. And that's kind of how it goes with wolves and deer, lion and zebra, cheetah and wildebeest, anything you can come across or catch, and anything that is sick or injured among the prey is just the most targeted one. Sometimes even the young ones, if they can separate them from the parents enough, will even take them to eat. And I say that there were certain videos I had as a kid, VHS tapes, that I watched so much of it on, but these days I have it set up in my social media where videos like that can show up in my Facebook feed, like where we see the crocodiles eating the zebras and taking down the antelopes and all the little other types of creatures being taken down by the leopard and the wild hunting dogs and the alligators by the jaguars and all that other stuff that kind of happens in life. And there are some of these creatures that are said to seldom attack man, but often known to attack man's sheep and cattle out on their farms. Sometimes they even attack pets. Leopards can attack domestic dogs sometimes. So I say of all things that there's so much to share, so much to know. Knowledge is great these days. Says so much. There will come a time when we'll finally get tags underneath these squirrels and get redwood, the initials and the year burnt into them underneath, and get them to be soaked. But I am thinking for now that as for the series with the little flat plane squirrels, this will be the finale video and the final of the series. So I wish you all the best. Hopefully soon there will come a time I'll get another little project started, make another new little video series on that. You've already seen the ones where I did the little Alpine St. Nicholases. They're painted, they're soaking in the linseed oil right now. Take care, you all. Wish you all the best. Always, always, always keep in touch. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you in the next video. Stay tuned.